Bam. Recording. Okay. If this looks weird, sorry. I tried to do this in C-Log, and I don't know what I'm doing. Here we go. Hey. So far in this channel, we've focused really pretty much the whole time on this mindfulness concept. How can we be present? How can we do these things? There's more to this practice than just mindfulness. The Buddha said that if you practiced mindfulness and concentration, that the wholesome qualities of the heart would naturally arise. But then, as you know, monks kept practicing more and struggling with certain things, the Buddha offered heart practices as well. Now, when I first started meditating years ago, I studied in a Zen monastery, different tradition. I studied there for about a year and a half before the monks asked me to formally take the precepts. Before you get to do this, before you get to actually formally take the precepts in front of your peers and your family and those things, you have to do like counseling with monks. Kind of like catechism for Catholics. You have to learn a little bit about what you're doing before you agree to it. Not a bad idea. When I did that, he asked on one of those sessions if I had any questions about the practice or anything like that. And I asked him specifically, in Zen practice, we only focus on the breath. And that's it. But I've been reading about these older traditions and all of these heart practices. Loving kindness, compassion, equanimity, appreciation. What do we do with those things? And he said, well, if you have a house and you plug in your phone and use the toaster and you're running your television, those are all on the same power source, right? I was like, yeah, okay. He said, that's what this meditation, that's what the breath is. Think of meditation that way. This source powers all the other things. As I kept practicing and focusing on concentration and mindfulness, I was still angry. I was still filled with this angsty stuff. The stuff that we talked about in the last video about rebellion, right? And so I started reading more about these heart practices, started learning from a Theravadan teacher, and came to the conclusion, there's nothing wrong with what the monk said. And I think that the Buddha was right too. If you continue practicing, these things will naturally arise. But it's nice with your home, I'm on the grid, my television and my phone charging, it all comes from the same place. But if that goes out, it'd be nice to have a generator, right? So we offer these practices for the heart. We spend time training the mind, but can we spend time cultivating these wholesome qualities that we want in the heart? So first, I need to convince you to train the heart, which is kind of a different section of training the mind, right? And in Buddhism, there's this word called chitta, which is heart-mind, essentially. But it can't all just be sitting with the breath. If something arises, resentment, anger, hatred, those kinds of things, can we implement practices of just the heart to kind of counteract these unwholesome qualities? So that's what we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks. How can we cultivate more loving kindness in our life? Not just love, because that comes with some strings. Not just kindness, because that can come with some strings too. But what does it look like when we merge the two? Can I act in a sense of loving kindness? Can I act in a sense of loving kindness? And what about compassion? What does compassion look like in an active sense? How can I be appreciative of the things that come without clinging to them? How can I be appreciative of things that happen to others without being jealous or craving those things for myself? And how can I have a sense of equanimity? How can I not let things pull me so far into suffering while still having compassion for them? What does that look like? These practices come with their own set of, the meditations themselves come with their own set of phrases that we kind of offer. And I'll go through all of those things. There are traditional phrases and there are more modern versions of those traditional phrases. And it's important to find your own versions of those phrases, something that feels like it connects to you. But it's just like mindfulness. If I don't practice mindfulness every day, then I start losing mindfulness. Ajahn Chah said that the entire point of concentration is to just find a level of stillness so that you can see the object of meditation arise. Meaning when that object arises, what do you do with it? That's what these heart practices help with. It gives you another tool set. It's not just sitting and letting things arise and letting things sustain and letting things pass. It's also cultivating wholesome qualities within ourselves. I need to practice loving kindness. I need to practice compassion because I want to see more of it in the world. So if then I know what it feels like to be compassionate without clinging, without being averse to things, but just compassion, getting rid and filtering out all the unwholesome things that kind of tend to seep in whenever we think that we're being compassionate, but really we're just being egotistical, just opinionated. If we can hone in on these qualities in meditation, then we can more clearly see them in the future. So those are the heart practices. Kind of simple. It's always simple but not easy with meditation. It's Buddhism in general. But I wanted to get that out first before we start delving in, and we'll talk about loving kindness next, but first it has to be, why? Why the heart practices, the Brahma Vihara, as they are called in Pali. So that's kind of a precursor to what's coming up. Kind of a way for me to test C-Log and see if I can do this correctly without making it look weird. So thanks for bearing with me. We'll continue doing the 4 foundations of mindfulness meditations as well. You don't ever have to watch them. If you don't want to do the guided meditation, that's fine. But I encourage you to try. See how it feels for you. For all of these loving kind, or the heart practices, loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity, I'll also put guided meditations down for that. And I'll start putting together like playlists of guided meditations in case you want to do that. If there's a guided meditation that you want that I haven't done yet, like maybe just a 20-minute silent meditation where I ring the bell and then ring the bell at the end, I can do that too. Just any suggestions you have, just let me know. And I appreciate you being here with me. I appreciate you watching these. I appreciate you wanting these wholesome qualities in your life. And hopefully, we can start seeing more of it in our lives, ease a little bit of our suffering. But for now, it's like this. I'll see you in the next one.